So welcome back to my channel. This is Dom, and continuation of my recycling, my upscaling, my reviving of some of my older figures. So many people, if you follow the channel, will know I was very excited to receive this pre-copy of Warlord's latest Pike and Shotte supplement. This is the one that covers the Italian Wars, Death and Landsknechts. There's a link here, I think, that will take you to that if you're interested in a deep dive into those rules. One of the reasons why I was excited about this is that 2 years ago or more I started a project to do Italian Wars in 28mm, and I collected a lot of figures. I started off, quite enjoyed just the novelty of painting a lot of highly... I think I started it as a challenge to myself more than anything else, because it's such a colourful period, and the excitement of just painting things very bright coloured really excited me. Excited? A lot of excitements in here. Anyway, so laid out here you can see the figures that I've already done, and it's kind of interesting just to lay them out. I've just realised that I haven't been at all consistent in the way I've based the pikes up, which is frustrating, so I might have to worry about that later, particularly because in this supplement you can mass pikemen together. But also it shows me what I've done. So I've got a couple of Swiss pipe blocks over here, some Landsknecht pikes here with the black band at the back there, and then more recently, well, I think this Florentine one I did some time ago, and this one I've done much more recently with their crossbows, and there's some Italian light cavalry, various bits of artillery, some arquebusiers, some mounted crossbowmen that I've done. These are all halberdiers at the back here. So yeah, so it's kind of nice just to lay things out and you can see what you've got, but also got me thinking about what I've already got in the piles, or in the plastic boxes. Now, a lot of, if you watched the earlier videos I did on this, I was delving through my 15mm metal sets that were all in those horrible grocery blue trays. I'm now going to be looking into my really useful boxes. So, mentioned this before on the channel. Some time ago, when I used to play a lot of 28mm Ancients and also Medievals, got into Warhammer Historicals, Warhammer Ancient Battles as it was called back then, WAB. And got all the different supplements. We played mainly, I guess, Hellenistic and Punic War type things, but I also had Armies of Chivalry, and we played quite a few battles using this. And I've always been very interested in the Italian Condotti period, which is the period just before the Italian Wars. So you can see here the dates they put on here, 1320 to 1495. This book covers 1494 to 1559. So definitely within the early Condotti, or sorry, in the latter Condotti period, there's a crossover into the Italian Wars. And it got me thinking, I've got a load of figures that I put together for a Condotti army for WAB that probably I could reuse and repurpose. So that's what I'm going to do today. So 3 really useful boxes of figures, 28mm metals, so they weigh a flipping ton, that I just describe on the shelf as 28mm medievals. So there's a mixed bag in here, and some of them will be useful, some will not. So let's start with this box here. So let me bring that in a bit closer. So you can see here a lot of familiar flags. There's Florentine ones and various other things. So I think in here we've got quite a few figures that I could reuse. So these are light cavalry horse archers. Now I think these were sort of mercenary kind of, I'm just looking in the army list what these may have been originally. I think I used them as Stradiotti, or maybe Hungarian. Actually no, these were probably Hungarian light cavalry, which were usable by the Florence period at this period. Now, again, there wasn't an awful lot of horse archers in the Italian wars proper, but I'm pretty sure I could reuse some of those. I've got a load of just nondescript spearmen. These look like black tree figures, which I think I'll repurpose as just sort of militia figures, because you need those as well. There's some billmen. Not sure they're quite as useful for me, but you never know, might have a go. Now there's some proper medievals here. These look like Wargaming's foundry by the look of it. Got a load of these in here. Not sure how useful they're going to be, because they are very much latter period medieval rather than early period Renaissance. Some commander type figures there that I could reuse. Don't know why I've got a sort of Arabic-y one there, but never mind. So that's that lot. So I think I'm going to work my way through all of these. There's a number in here that I think I could repurpose, some of them not so much. I mean, a guy in plate armour is a guy in plate armour, but some of them with the crests, that's very much high medieval rather than low Renaissance, shall we say. So I think some of them may not make it into the update. The other thing, which I love this, so in the rules, so in the WAB rules, you could have the city-states basically in the Condotti period had wagons that carried the city standard. So I did these fellas. I mean, they've been in the garage for a while, so they're a bit mildewy. But this was my Colonnello for the Florentine army that I was building. So I might, just for old time's sake, see if I can repurpose this. I've got 4 crossbowmen on board. It may just, I don't know, I may well work through that one. So that's all the knights. So I think definitely the cavalry and the spearmen can be repurposed in there for sure. I mean, I'm not going to waste the other figures. I'll still use those. It's just they wouldn't necessarily be a priority, so they will be rebased for proper medievals, I think. In here, another load of troop types. There's a lot of longbowmen. The Condotti period was dominated by basically unemployed longbowmen and other British or other English, well, actually probably were British, because they would have been Welsh and Scots as well. People who'd fought in the 100 Years' War, and basically were laid off at the end of the war. Plus a lot of French also came down and chanced their arm down in Italy. But the longbow didn't really feature in the latter period into the Italian wars, so I think those will just have to be used for true medievals. But we've got some others here. Again, these were done for my Florentine force, so I think these could be quite easily repurposed again as a sort of militia type spearman. There's also quite a few crossbowmen here, which I think we'll also repurpose. There's some sort of nondescript skirmishy type fellas. I'm not sure they're going to be much use to anybody. What else we got here? Some other sort of medieval looking spearmen. No shields on any of those, so I might look at those. I might just repurpose them for another project at some point. So that's that lot. And then finally, this looks like all the cavalry and other things in here. Try not to spike myself on some of these. Some of these, again, I think they're just too medieval, like this fella. Not sure he's going to work. But there's some others in here I think I could, whoops, definitely repurpose. No, I think he's actually supposed to be an Italian lord anyway. Needs a bit of tidying up. He's not particularly the best, but yeah, he can be used. There's some other fellas in here that could potentially be, again, he's got a helm that's very much from the earlier period, so that's not going to work. So I'm not sure the cavalry there are going to work. There's some more cavalry here, again, very much traditional heavies from the period, from the earlier period. Got some artillery. Now these little guns could definitely be used. They're still pretty relevant. Not sure the ribbons are much use. Might repurpose them for my Wars of the Roses actually. That might work there. And then in the bottom here, another load of crossbowmen. No idea the manufacturer. Probably Wargames Foundry by the look of them. And we've also got some more archers by the look of it, and some more billmen. So I'm going to work my way through this lot, begin the horrible job of rebasing them, and then see what we can add to our Italian Wars project. Back in a bit. So there you go. A couple of weeks have gone by, and I've worked my way through all those 28mm figures, rebased, touched up as appropriate. Do you know the most satisfying thing about doing this sort of thing? Sorry, wobbling the camera a bit. Is you suddenly got whole new armies. I mean, they're not new because obviously they'd been around for, well, at least 15 years, probably 20 years, most of these figures. Maybe not as long as the 15mm, but not far off it. Now, the biggest challenge has actually been trying to just sort of go through and work out what I'm going to do with them, if anything. So, some of them, this dude here, I think he's a Black Tree, I think. There's about 7 of them. They're going up on eBay. So all I've done with those is rebase them, touch up any scratches, and pretty much left them the same. So that's sort of a straightforward one. Not sure what to do with these fellas. These are a whole load of, I think the Citadel Knights. Not Citadel, Games Workshop. And they're lovely figures. I'm just not entirely sure I'm going to use them. So I think these will probably go up on eBay as well. They were in pretty good nick actually, didn't need to do too much to them. Mostly just rebase, and as I say, just where there was any obvious scratches, touch them up a bit. Also got this figure, which I think was a special figure from one of the books. I forget now. The only problem with him, he was on a vast, huge base, so I had to put him on a slightly bigger base than I would rather. Anyway, that's that. So those, not sure what to do with. I think they'll probably be, as I say, eBayed in due course. Some of the other stuff, more obvious. So, whoops. A couple of light artillery batteries. These are light artillery. What am I talking about? Light bombards, medieval artillery, and they were pretty good nick. All I did was rip them off the horrible old bases they were on. Some of the figures needed a little bit of work. The guns themselves were pretty good. So I think I'll pop these straight into. Do I need any more artillery? What I might do is keep one and sell one. Put one on in my War of the Roses boxes and sell the other one. It's probably my route with that. I've got the Reboulders, or whatever they're called, the multi-launcher rockets. Again, 2 of those. I can't see any occasion I'm going to use 2 of these in my armies, so one of these is definitely going on eBay. The other one I will keep in my War of the Roses armies. I was thinking about painting them up in a particular kind of heraldic style, but in the end I've just left them exactly as they were, just improved them, just sort of touched up the colours basically. And they're nice, they're really nice. I think they're front rank or third, I don't know where, had them so long, no idea. Then I've got obvious things that I can use, so these fellas, crossbowmen, these are going to go straight into my Italian Wars. So I've got a number of bases of those. They'll all go straight in the Italian War collection, as will these fellas. Now, I wasn't sure what to do with these originally. They're a bit early for the Italian Wars, but looking at the army lists in the book, in the new book, they do have an option for a sort of spear-armed militia troop. So why not reuse them? So they're in the sort of my Florentine colours. All I did was put a new flag on them, as I just touched up a bit, redid the basing to match the style I'm using for the Italian Wars, and their job's a good one. Similarly, crossbowmen, all I did again was just touch them up, and they will join the Italian Wars armies. So that's that. I did think about using these like cavalry as strategos, but in the end I've decided that I'm just going to keep these for my various ancient collections, because I think they're cumins rather than anything medieval. I think I'm better off just using them for what they were designed to be. So you can see all I've really done with these is very little touch up. Mainly these just had a varnish. They were a bit shiny originally, and I think just a decent varnish has brought them up really nicely. Very nicely indeed. So I'm pleased with those. So they will go in my ongoing collection. Other Italian Wars possible troops. These, I'd forgotten I had these. I don't think I originally painted these. I think I must have bought them at a show, because it was before eBay was a big thing. And yeah, they'll do as sort of the archers, archer class of cavalry in the Italian Wars, I think. So they'll go straight in the Italian Wars box. Gives me some more cavalry without having to paint them, which is always a good thing. So yeah, they're going in Italian Wars as well. So nice to get a bit of, and that was kind of my aim with this project. Don't know whether you can call it a project, but my recycling of these figures was to find figures that I could reuse for Italian Wars, and I think I've got that. So things that don't really work for the Italian Wars, I don't think, not for the period that the book covers, are the longbowmen. So again, I think these are Black Tree mostly. There's a couple of others. Commanders are different. Nice figures actually. I quite like them. It's a shame Black Tree's mail order service is just so appalling, but they're nice figures. So always need longbowmen, so they're going in the War of the Roses boxes. Similarly, I pulled out, so there was interesting, there was a whole raft of knight figures like these, lots and lots and lots. Some of them will work in certain periods, some won't. So what I've gone through is working out which, and I did actually send a couple of pictures to my mate Martin, 7th Son. He's my technical consultant on all things medieval, and pulled out sort of which ones I thought would work best. So these fellas I think are very much War of the Roses, so they are going to be a small unit of medieval knights, men at arms for the War of the Roses. They are Wargames Foundry, I believe. Lovely figures, and I've just stuck a standard Richard III standard on that. Some of the others I'm using as command stands, so these fellas, again, War of the Roses, that'll be a command stand. I'm working on another one at the moment, using some figures from plastic figures and whatnot. So, and I've got a whole load of these individuals here that are all just heavily armoured. They need a little bit of touching up, but actually they're in pretty good nick. And they'll probably find their way into commands or into future units and so forth. There was a load of billmen. So again, I think these are a black tree, I believe. Rather nice. Used some of the Foot Knight figures as commanders in these. So these are going to go in the War of the Roses boxes, because they will certainly do for that when I just need pure billmen. Otherwise, there was quite a lot of, again, I'm not sure I painted most of these. I think I bought them in somewhere. Oops, where are they? There we go. The guys in the blue and yellow quartered livery. So I basically created two bill and bow units. So that's Sir Roger Clifford has that standard, so that works quite well with the colour scheme these figures had. And so they'll join my War of the Roses armies. That one's, who's this guy? I've made him Hugh Courtney. Again, you can see there's so Hugh himself is one of those Foot Knight figures that I just plugged in. Yeah, they're rather nice figures. I've no idea who manufactured those. As I say, I'm pretty sure I bought those painted as they were, and they're rather good. So that will go in the Wars of the Roses as well. So this project has created a whole load of War of the Roses figures that I didn't know I had or needed. Some straight up spearmen. Again, I think these are black tree. Didn't need much. I think mainly their faces need a little bit of work, from what I recall. And the basing, obviously. So those are going, again, in the War of the Roses. They're a little bit early, but I think they do well as a sort of mercenary spearman figures. Other figures here, let's just spin the camera around just slightly. So down here we've got, these were, I think these were sort of just general skirmisher troops that were used in the, actually these need a varnish. I'm going to give these another varnish because they're still quite shiny. These were figures that were used as part of my WAB army. They could have, what are they called? Bidets, light infantry figures. They're always useful. I think I'm going to put them, I'm going to varnish them up properly. Obviously, I must have missed that. Never mind. I'll give them a varnish later to mat them down. And they will probably go into my Baron Wars collection. I think that's what they'll be useful for, as some sort of light force for that. Talking of which, whole raft of dismounted knight or men-at-arms figures. That's a black tree again. That one's a foundry, I think. These I've all based individually. They're predominantly male armoured. So I think those will work very nicely for the Baron Wars. So they're going straight in the Baron War collection. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of those, which is instantly gives me a unit to use. As will these crossbowmen. Again, I'm not entirely sure. I think these might be footsore. Rather nice figures. Crossbowmen, obviously, mainly worked on the skin on these and deaded them down a bit. So those will, I've individually based those as well. Those will go in the Baron Wars collection. They could probably be used for most other things. So I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 24 crossbowmen there. These ones were interesting. I've no idea where they came from, what the manufacturer is. These were some of the ones Martin gave me some advice on. So I think they're supposed to be purvey's holders. They're quite nice figures, actually. I don't mind them at all. That one's a bit fantasy looking, the way it's posed, but all I've done with these is just rebase them sort of dulled down the shields a bit and put some transfers on them just to make them look a bit more exciting. So yeah, that'll be useful. So what we've got there, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 of those. So that's nice. And then over here, we've got Richard III on his horse. In fact, he keeps coming off his horse, so I really need to stick him back on. Not sure what to do about him. I might keep him for the Baron Wars. I was tempted to sell him, but I think I'll keep him for the Baron Wars as in case I need a sort of king-like character for the game. And then up the back here, a whole load of knights. Oh, come on, zoom in. Again, these are, they look quite early period to me. And my consultant. So these are going to join the Baron Wars. Again, I've just basically touched them up a bit. In this case, I put a new transfer on his shield. And rebased them, obviously. And I think they'll do perfectly well as Baron War figures. So, what have we got there? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 cavalry figures. Which is quite exciting, really. So yeah, there you go. As I say, I've got a few individuals still to work on. But basically I've got units for my Italian Wars, which is what I wanted. I've got, oh, I forgot the one other one. This was from the earlier Italian Wars period. I showed it before. It's the cart that all Italian armies of the, I guess just after the 100 Days Wars, when the Condotti were in charge, had them to basically with a big flag for the city. It was a sort of rally point for them. I mocked this up just using a standard cart. It probably would have been a lot fancier than this, and put some crossbowmen in there just for the fun of it. I don't think I'll use this, but I thought what a waste it would be if I didn't use it. So all I've done is just put it on a bigger base with some Vallejo. I think this is brown mud. I can't remember now. And just put it in just to show it off. Anyway, so that's that. So yeah, the upshot of all this is quite a lot of new figures, and still a few more to work on in terms of individual men-at-arms and so forth. But you know, I put that as a win. Bonus army just there. In fact, units for Baron Wars, War of the Roses, and Italian Wars all there, plus some stuff I'm going to sell. So, win-win-win. So anyway, I thought people might be interested in seeing this. I know there was a lot of interest in the 15mm recycling project. So I'm doing it now with the 28s as well, and just reviving them, giving them new life, a new lease of life, and they'll see the table much more likely now. And I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I sell my armies." I don't tend to sell many armies, very, very few. Not whole armies anyway. I'll tend to sell the odd figures and odd units here and there when they're surplus to requirement. But generally I hold on to them, and this is why, because I can go back in and metal and even plastic and even resin nowadays doesn't really die. So it's useful for a long period of time. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, share, subscribe, do all that good thing. Let me know. Do you ever go back through your old figures, or are you a slash and burn merchant? I saw somebody said I think he said he'd sold all his armies about 3 times through his wargaming career. And I get it, because the lure of the new shininess helps. But also, there's a certain charm with some of these old figures. Some of these black trees. Really nice figures. Shame about the company itself, but there you go. But I think it'd be interesting to know. Do you start again all the time? Do you sell off your old figures? Do you keep them? Do you ever go back into the old boxes and go, Oh, there's some hidden gems here and recycle them. Are you an eBay merchant? Do you go around hoovering up people who are selling off their older figures and just revitalise? I know there's a huge interest in classic minifigs and Hinchcliffe's figures. People buy them up like crazy. I did sell some Hinchcliffe figures some time ago, and I was amazed the price they went for. They were unpainted, but so I'm interested. Anyway, I've waffled on enough. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you all, and stay safe, stay well, enjoy your gaming, and I'll see you all again soon. This is Dom, signing out.